Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our reaction and review for the Pitt Season 2, Episode 15. We've made it, guys. The season is over. Robby's shift is done, and yet Robby is still in the hospital. He is not leaving.
Okay, we gotta talk about this kind of cliffhanger. It seems like maybe, possibly, Robby might be taking in Baby Jane as his own. We saw Dana going around at the end of the shift asking anybody if this was something that they would consider. Robby at the very end there giving his own background to this baby, saying, hey, I was abandoned when I was 8 and now here you are abandoned here at the hospital. And it could be the thing that gives him the life to want to live for. He even mentioned that he thought that he would be married with kids at this point, and he doesn't have either. So maybe Baby Jane.
All right, we're only in.
So cute.
It was so cute, and everyone is gonna hate me so much in this video because I am gonna have to be surly Matt for a moment here. Because here's the thing: Noah was incredible in that scene. I thought he was awesome. I want Baby Jane Doe to be happy. I want Robby to be happy. The idea of Robby being like, I'm gonna take in this kid right now when Robby has not done any work at all on himself. This is the married couple with a bad relationship being,
right.
Let's just have a kid. Everything is going to be great now.
Listen, I'm an adoptive mom. So anytime there's a situation where somebody is like, I feel like I could do this, I could give this kid a better life.
Yes.
Excellent. You should do it. But you're absolutely right. If he is going to do something like this, maybe then this is the first step for him to go and get some sort of help so that he then is able to do something like this.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Would I want Dr. Robby to be a good parent? Yes, I think he is capable of it. Like we have seen like these stretches of empathy for this guy. Like he shows it with his patients all the time. And then he yells at his doctors and makes Dr. Mohan feel terrible. Like, but there's just this weird mixture of things with him. If he can find a way to actually get the help he needs. And we'll talk about in this video whether or not he's going to do that after everything within this episode. But if he can do that, I don't have any problem with him taking Baby Jane Doe in. It's just he needs immediate work, and I mean immediate.
No, you're absolutely correct. He has to get some help before he would be taking on Baby Jane, but I want to see the best for him. He's such a good doctor. He does have the empathy, like you said. He does care about people, and he does have a similar background here to Baby Jane. I feel like as a parent, he would be able to relate to Baby Jane in that way and help to be able to offer that advice that he was giving as he was holding her, being like, yeah, things are rough now, but they won't always be. You will find love. You will find this. You will find life. There is so much here.
I think in terms of breadcrumbs, and you mentioned this, there's so many in this episode that, yeah, like you could take all these and make a proper mac and cheese with it. Like everything from, everybody loves mac and cheese, but yeah, the conversations about can somebody take in Baby Jane, to the discussion about him thinking he was going to have a family, to like, I think all this inner frustration within him, going back to the conversations even with Duke, where he's sitting back and saying, this is the only place in my life that I feel like I have value. Having a child, like that gives you value outside the hospital. Like that can give you purpose. But if your mind's all mixed up, like, yeah, there's no way you're ever going to find a purpose in much of anything. You're just going to project that onto somebody else.
Yes.
That's where things get really interesting and complicated. But we'll talk about all the complicated stuff in this finale. The scene with Langdon is their closure with him and Robby. We had a rare, fun post-credit scene in the midst of all of this as well.
Yes.
But before we dive more into any of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you guys, I know you're subscribed to HBO Max.
Yes.
Guess what? This summer, June, House of the Dragon is on. It's been a long wait. We were blessed with Night of the Seven Kingdoms earlier this year.
So good.
Yeah, we are going right back into Rhaenyra, Daemon, all these great characters. We're going to have a lot of reviews for that, and we don't want you guys to miss what's going to be a really, really exciting summer.
Or if you want to help support us further here at the channel, you can join our YouTube memberships. Over there right now, we are covering Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, and we are covering The Boys, the final season. And coming up in May, we are covering Criminal Minds. So be sure to check that out.
Thank you guys so much for your support. Like, that means so much to us coming out of this season.
Okay, so who out there does think that he will be back next season and he will have this baby with him? Raise your hand. I do.
Slowly.
I do. I also think, or at least I hope, and this is going to put my heart on for this, is that I need to see Dr. Robby next season if we're not getting the night shift and we're getting another day shift. I don't want to see a third season of Robby descending into where he might just be gone and ending everything, because this was already a theme during the first season. We had the time jump, but now we're here. He is hitting rock bottom. I do not want to see a third season of this. It's enough.
Yeah, this show is claiming time and time again, it's all about evolution, right? Like, that's
Right.
the same reason they keep justifying the very anger-inducing decision to get rid of Mohan. It's just like, okay, the hospital always moves forward. All right, let's presume the hospital moves forward. Then the characters have to as well. You can't just have Robby be miserable every single year, because, yeah, eventually it is going to get tiring, and eventually it's going to be a situation
Yes.
where we all just get over the show. I don't want to get over the Pit. I'm really invested in a lot of these
Yes.
people. And I think because of how miserable I've seen Dr. Robby, like, this is why I raised my hand slowly, because, like, when I first watched the finale, my first takeaway was that he was not going to end up taking Baby Jane. But that was before I kind of sat on it for a while, and I sort of realized, all right, this is not an either or situation. I kind of viewed it at first as, all right, either he has to get help right away or he has to take in Baby Jane Doe. Like, he can do both, and I hope that
Yes.
he finds a way to do both and get better. But I also feel like him taking this baby in is almost directly addressing what you're saying, which is that no one knows that Robby can't be the same character every single season, and that's going to be
No.
pretty boring if he is.
And I think that conversation with Duke was very, very important, where, you know, Robby said that his only real purpose is the hospital, that, you know, yeah, he doesn't have any other family, really. He doesn't have a wife, doesn't have kids, he doesn't have anything else going on. That's why it's like, oh yeah, it's the end of my shift, but I'm still here. This is all I have. But that it's also breaking him down. It's a very, very difficult job, that he needs to have something else that's about balance. There was a lot of that going on this season, even with Mel, where it's like there's no balance. She's got work and then she's got Becca, but because Becca's moved on, she just has work and that's what she's got. There's no balance anymore. And for Robby, there's been no balance. It's just he just keeps pushing himself further and further into work, thinking that's going to be the thing that stabilizes him. And I think him with Baby Jane saying these things out loud, kind of like, hey, you know, I know you were abandoned and I was too, but hey, there is hope, there is life, that he's talking to himself as well, to be like, these are the things that are worth living for. So maybe I need to get some help so that I can be here for those things. It's not necessarily that he's going to take Baby Jane. It could also just be that conversation of giving that, you know, hope to this baby, that things will get better, the sun will shine, you will find love, all these beautiful things for himself.
I think that if he does end up taking her, it makes a really interesting situation in season 3. Because, I mean, if you guys have heard some of the things Noah said, it sounds like they're going to have some sort of winter season. Presumably, we're only going a handful of months into the future. You know that hospitals, a lot of them have child care centers, right? And so, like,
Absolutely.
I can picture in my head, it gives Robby something to, like, run and go and do at certain points during this season. He can go check on the baby, see how she's doing. It gives him something else to kind of kick up his motivation throughout the day as it's getting weary and difficult. And I welcome that change of pace. It would be a little bit less interesting to me if he adopts this baby and then it's just off, because we're never going to see Robby at home, presumably, right? Like, you have to still find a way to have the baby around the hospital.
Yeah, or whoever's helping him out during the day, whether it's a sitter, whoever, that they would be giving updates on Baby Jane.
I just really want to know, is anyone else out there just upset that Robby never left the hospital at the end of this season? Because there is this part of me now, and maybe I've just watched too much For All Mankind, where I'm like, are you just now Ed's just never going to leave Mars? No spoilers for the latest season, but I'm just thinking, I really thought going into this finale, we would either see something more pay off with the motorcycle that we've talked so much about this season.
No.
It's just not even there. We have no idea what's happening with this trip.
No, this trip really was all about him going off to very likely never come back. I mean, that conversation with Jack Abbott, man, I love seeing the two of them on screen together. It is so good. But him calling that out, that no helmet thing, just be like, I know you're lying to everybody about that helmet thing. You are not wearing a helmet. That is just a death wish. I know what is happening because I've been there. So now I'm watching you be there, and you just need to find a way to get past it.
Every finale, it has to be mandated somewhere that you just get to let Noah and Sean cook for a scene. And like, this scene was really good, really illuminating. I mean, it does answer that big question we've had for the bulk of the season, which is just that, okay, nobody saw Robby, nobody's talking about Robby, everybody's just taking him at his word. And I think a lot of it now, it's kind of through the lens of, he's an authority figure, right? Like, he's a de facto boss for a lot of people. And if you are a paramedic, somebody else who was maybe driving by him, you're not going to go, hey, Robby, why don't you tell us all about your lies, when you're kind of afraid of retaliation? Like, Abbott can do whatever he wants. I mean, also, even if Abbott wasn't on the same level as Robby, given what he was doing in his day job, running around and nearly getting himself killed, I don't really think he cares.
Yeah.
I appreciate, though, we had more of Abbott. I also, tinfoil hat.
Yep.
There is a way that they've set it up now that Abbott could be around almost the entirety of season 3.
Oh man, I hope so, because I mean, they really took a nice big chunk of time to have the two of them working together with the pregnant woman that came in that was like, I don't want any help. I just want this wild pregnancy and then a wild birth and whatever. That was so intense.
Yes.
Easily one of the most intense medical scenes I have ever seen. I've watched a lot of medical dramas, but that was so intense. I truly didn't know which way it was going to go. But to see the both of them just kind of going back and forth to get through this, it was so amazing. I need more.
I really think there could be. All right, so here's where I'm going with a lot of this, is that through this season, we saw Dr. Al push that, okay, there needs to be 2 attendings working together. This is not a job for one person. I mean, we'll get more into the Dr. Al story, but based on the idea
and why she thinks that.
Yeah, based on everything we know now, including what they could conceivably be doing for next season, like, is Dr. Al going to be at a place medically where she's able to be an attending in that amount of time? So now I'm sort of rolling around in my head this idea of, oh, Dr. Al, you did have a really good idea. There do need to be 2 attendings. Here comes Dr. Abbott. We bring Abbott and Robby together. I love the idea of these two are friends, right? Like, they get along. I don't know if they're hanging out every day, but there's a lot of mutual respect. It's one thing for them to cross over on each other's shifts, but the amount of infighting that could happen when you got these 2 dudes with their big egos around each other for the entire season, like, I would be seated for that beyond any words I can tell you.
I would be as well, but I don't see Robby thinking that he needs any help, that he needs a second person there at all. And after seeing the way that Abbott was with his own crew, kind of like, we're the night crawlers, let's go. I was just like, I need to see the spinoff so intensely badly now. Like, they are good friends, but very different.
Very different leadership styles. Like, that much is 100% for sure. Because, like, Abbott's intense, but he's intense in a very different sort of way where
empowering.
He's very empowering. He's also a little bit weird, and I mean that as a compliment, where it
sounds like the night shift is all weird.
Yeah, you got to have a certain amount of weirdness to be like, you know what? I can sleep during the day all the time.
Also, I'm assuming that if people are coming in the night, that they probably get some really weird stuff that's happening. Why are you up at 3 a.m.? What's happening to you?
Yeah, this is my fear. My fear is that the Pit, they're gonna just be like, whatever we would end up delivering on a night shift spinoff is not gonna be as good as any of like the ideas you guys out there have in your head. And to me, I say,
Disagree.
yes, you guys are professionals. It is your job to come up with things that are weirder than all of us can collectively imagine. Like 100%, I would be there for a night shift spinoff. I think if nothing else, the fact that Sean is probably always going to get nominated for an Emmy as a guest star, he'll be back in some shape or form.
Okay, this is what I'm thinking.
All right, let's hear it.
We have the Pit at the beginning of each year, the day shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the fall, we get 15 episodes going on of the night shift.
I'm all for it. This is like when
like Pitt all year round.
This is like when they did Dancing with the Stars twice a year. And I know there was a lot of people that was like, this is too much dancing. But I was like, no, I got my dancing shoes on. I would be all on board with that.
Okay, let's talk about Dr. Al since you brought her up, because that was definitely the big cliffhanger going into this episode of what's going to happen now. She's like, yeah, I've basically had 2 seizures since I've been on shift. And Robby's like, you can't be working like that. 5 seconds of you not being present could kill somebody. Like, there's no way that can happen. I know there was a lot of back and forth with that, but eventually she really had to face that he was right.
It's so interesting to me that the things that I'm kind of most conflicted about in my head, the Robby ending, like that's the stuff that I really expected to love going into the finale. And the things that I didn't have high expectations on, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought the Dr. Al stuff in this episode is fantastic. The way,
so good.
Like the way that they handled it, we really saw the tension fully with her and Robby. Like they were shouting at each other. And this is the first time they've gotten to that level all season long. And I mean, it speaks to this idea that here's Dr. Al, right? Like she's obviously very accomplished at what she does. She does things that annoy me, the whole AI app, all of that other sort of stuff. But it seems like she's moved around a lot and she's probably looking for a hospital place to call home on some level. And I think she's really diving in on this first day with this thought of, okay, I'm going to bring all these suggestions to the table. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to make sure they have real value in me so I stay around. And then at the end of the day, she's going to Robby thinking for some reason that like he's going to keep all this information, that it's not going to turn up into some sort of big blow up situation. I think she thinks she has to tell someone. And then everything just goes downhill like unbelievably fast.
Yeah, I was kind of confused in a bit of why she felt she had to tell him at all, because if she's already spoken to her other doctor who's basically cleared her and was like, yeah, everything is going to be okay, she herself knows that it's not okay, that she's had these 2 seizures during this one day at work and that it could be getting worse, whatever. But if you're telling Robby, it felt like she was telling Robby to either make sure that there was a second person on with her to be able to work it out, or so that he would bench her because she knew she couldn't bench herself. And as much as she didn't want to hear it, by the end, she knew it was right. And I think deep down inside that is why she told Robby, because she knew she needed to be benched.
I think that's 100% it. Like, I think she had it weighing on her conscience. And I think even as she started to say it at first, she clearly wasn't ready to admit it. Like, she wasn't even ready to admit it until after she got into her car and started driving, where for all the scenes, quote unquote, outside the hospital, like that was the best one they could possibly give us, because they showed with her actions, okay, this is me clearly making a different decision. Like, I don't know if Robby is going to get help. Like, I hope he does, but I know that Dr. Al is going to get help, because if Dr. Al wasn't, she would have just driven right out of the hospital.
Absolutely. And, going out for 5 seconds when you're driving, I mean, she's going to end up dead or killing somebody.
Yeah, and this sets up, though, a really good situation where if Dr. Al's not practicing directly, we could have the ultimate, now the doctor is the patient story in season 3, which I know is cliche. All these medical dramas have done it.
Yeah, they can be done really well.
Yeah, I almost always like it. I am always here for it, especially when they think they know everything. And I'm not saying Dr. L's a complete know-it-all, but she does know a lot. I don't think she's going to be that thrilled if, like, here comes Whitaker, who's going to be responsible for treating her.
Okay, let's talk about Langdon and Robby, because Langdon really did have a lot to say to Robby at this. There was the big win in the last episode, but here it's kind of like yeah, I know you didn't really want to see me today or have that conversation with me, but we're having it right now. Like, Robby, man, you really need to get some help. It's going to be okay. I've been doing my program for a long time now, over 100 days. It's really helped. Take a look in the mirror and get some help.
I actually feel like this is the conversation, even more than Dr. Abbott, that's going to get through to Robby because he's so stubborn, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's used to probably hearing little pieces of advice from Abbott, from Dana, and he's probably learned that he can tune some of that out. But here is Langdon, the guy he desperately did not want to see on this final day. And I think a lot of it is because he knew it would shake up his mental psyche. And
Right.
here is Langdon telling him, I saw people like you. I know what they were doing, but at least they understood that they needed help.
Oof,
Like,
yeah.
that's a lot to take in. It was really, really powerful. And I think that's the thing that's sitting in Robbie's head as he's with Baby Jane at the end of all this. It's like, yeah, I talk to all these other people who I talk to all the time, but man, here is Langdon, this person who maybe I thought I let down, who's actually like coming down on me. Like, what do I do with this Baby Jane Doe?
And all the people out there that are out there shipping Langdon and Mel, they gave us like this teeny tiny little bit of fireworks at the end of this whole episode where Mel was hoping to be with Becca. Becca's at her boyfriend's house. She's like, you know what? I'm just going to sit out here and watch a little bit of fireworks before I go back in. You got Langdon. He's coming out there. They're watching a little bit of fireworks together. A little bit of fireworks together.
Little bit.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was very nice. It was very sweet. It was them understanding that people, whether you ship them or not, like there's a real investment in that relationship.
Yeah, there really is. Like there was a lot of respect season 1 from Mel to Langdon of everything that he was teaching her. And here we had him being like, thank you so much for talking me down earlier and helping me out. And their friendship is great.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the best things for this show. I think the bizarre thing coming out of this season is Mel making another friend. And all right, hear me out for a minute here, everybody. I still don't like Santos. I am going to stand proudly on that. Like, she's not my favorite character. I oddly love the post-credit scene of her and Mel singing karaoke. And here is why, because I'm sure a lot of people do not. I felt like Santos is one of these people who probably thinks all the time she's too cool to hang out with somebody like Mel, who's a little bit nerdy and socially awkward, and Santos doesn't know how to be vulnerable. So I think Santos going to Mel, of all people, and being like, hey, you want to get a drink? You want to do some karaoke? Like, this may be as vulnerable as Santos is ever willing to get on that level. And so, like, I really appreciated that these two who would never hang out in any other situation got together, belted out some karaoke. Yeah, I'm sure a part of this is just because the actress who plays Santos is a very accomplished singer, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it somewhat.
Okay, all right.
I'm not a person that likes watching people singing on shows, singing in cars. It just feels like it's kind of been done to death. I'm not really getting anything out of that type of a scene. But I did get something out of this scene. And what I got out of this scene was to leave this season with not just hope with Robby, because this has been a pretty, we'll call it a negative season in that way, where all the characters were really going through it. Some people were really bottoming out and crashing out this season. It was very hard on everybody. So to end with Robby and the baby with that hope, to then have this post-credit scene that was just light, fun, sort of airing it all out with two people that normally would never hang out together. That's what I liked about the scene. I liked leaving this season on a really high with something more positive, instead of leaving the season where I'm just like, oh man, I got beat up all season long and I left feeling beat up.
I know, it was a release. Like, here's the real question I have.
I think it was a release for all of us. I think it was very well done for that.
There's probably a lot of people who are so used to just like turning something off the moment that they see directed by.
Yeah.
Did all you guys see the post-credit scene? Like, let us know, because this is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think a lot of us are like programmed to, okay, we actually need to watch through a little bit of the credits here.
Yep.
All right, now I do have to talk about the thing that made me the most mad. And it's obvious, very obvious. I hated how they ended the Mohan story. It wasn't an end. It was nothing. There was no
I
resolution
know.
to what's going. She's like, okay, maybe I'll go into geriatrics. It's like, great. You know, she's just kind of half-heartedly agreeing to something that Robby was being condescending about.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, is they kind of did this last season too, where it was just like, and Collins just isn't coming back, or
Yeah.
it's like, oh, just go home for the day, I'll see you tomorrow. And it's like, nope, we're never gonna see her again. And I mean, you don't always have to have like a big goodbye or
Yeah.
whatever, but at the same time, Mohan really had a lot of trouble this season with this. Like, it was Robby was really like down on her, down on her, down on
Yeah.
her, to see her kind of go out like that. Like I said, this was a tough season. I'm
Hmm.
not saying like it was a bad season, it
Yeah.
wasn't. But it was definitely a more draining season and negative season, because there was a lot of characters that were just like going down the drain, and Mohan just, yeah, just didn't really go out at all. It was kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll do this, maybe I won't. See you tomorrow.
Here's the advice I would give them. And I know they probably think they don't need our advice because they've won all these Emmys, but this is just the real thing of it, is that I understand people need to leave. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be
Right.
like, okay, this show needs to have the same cast every season. I love Mohan. She's my favorite
Okay, well,
character.
why does it have to be Mohan? Why
Yeah.
can't it be anybody else?
And also, I feel like if you're going to do things like this, you're a lot better served to know going into the season that you're writing out this character at the end, or have some idea that it could be happening, because it feels like, you know, we're not in the writer's room, but from the outside looking in, it kind of feels like they just sort of made this decision with Collins, with Mohan, like far after they finished filming.
1,000% that's what it feels
Yeah.
like. And it may not be that way, but if I was just looking at this season objectively, where I was like, who needs to go? Who
Mhm.
doesn't have enough story? And this hurts my heart so bad, because this is my favorite
Oh, no.
character. But the
Oh, no.
character is Mel. They had not enough to do with her at all. She had this deposition that led to nowhere,
Mhm.
ended the season where she got to have another one. And there just wasn't enough going on. Mohan had like a really solid, good story this season. And it would have been great to see her not just kind of end defeated, to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just
Yeah.
do this then, because I got beat down for my entire shift.
Yeah. And
But that happens. But yes, it feels like a decision that came after.
yeah, I know it can happen occasionally like this. I just want more planning when it comes to that front. That way we don't leave just feeling unsatisfied. I know that there were breadcrumbs and hints that, okay, this might be coming with Mohan.
Yes.
He wasn't sure this was right for her and all that. But I just
Yes.
think that character deserved more of a proper ending. Like, I'm sure the actress is going to be fine. She was on an Emmy-winning show. She's probably going to get all sorts of gigs moving forward. But it's just like, we all develop these parasocial relationships
Yes.
with these doctors, because this is 15 episodes. This isn't an 8-episode show.
Right.
But that's where we are now, coming out of this finale. A lot happened, but what do you guys think? Where do you want to see everything go from here? Give us your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for being with us this season. You can support us further by joining our memberships. We are so grateful to everyone who has, and we'll see you here next time.